The letter trembles in my hands, the familiar letterhead of Parker Industries mocking me after 5 years of silence. My father's signature, once a symbol of authority that made me cower, now looks desperate and shaky. I almost laugh at the irony. I'm Lexi, and the last time I saw my father, he was throwing my engineering degree in my face, telling me I was dead to him. All because I refused to marry the son of his business partner, choosing instead to pursue my dreams of becoming an engineer. You're really going to open that? Ben asks, peering over my shoulder. His presence steadies me, as it has since we met in graduate school. I have to know, I whisper, tearing the envelope. The words blur together at first, but certain phrases jump out. Dire circumstances, need your expertise, family legacy at stake. My father, the mighty Brian Parker, is begging for my help. Well, Ben's voice is gentle. He knows what this means to me. He's desperate, I say, dropping the letter on our kitchen counter. The company's failing. He needs an engineering expert to salvage their new sustainable energy project. And naturally, he comes crawling to you now. Ben's usually kind face hardens. He was there to pick up the pieces after my father disowned me. The memory floods back unbidden. An arranged marriage, Lexi. Do you know what this alliance could mean for our family? My father's voice had boomed through his study. Instead, you waste your time with this engineering nonsense. It's my life, I had screamed back. I won't let you sell me off like property. His face had turned purple. Then you are no longer my daughter. My Aunt Nancy's call interrupts my thoughts. I assume you got the letter? She says without preamble. How bad is it really, Aunt Nancy? She sighs. Worse than he's letting on. Zane Ross is circling like a vulture, looking to hostile takeover. Your sister Valeria is trying to help, but... She trails off. Val, she's involved now? She's trying to follow in your footsteps, actually, taking night classes in business. Your father doesn't know. My heart clenches. Val was just 18 when I left, watching wide-eyed as I was cast out. Now she's secretly fighting the same battle. There's more, Nancy continues. The Sustainable Energy Project? It's revolutionary. If it fails, hundreds of jobs will be lost. This isn't just about your father anymore. I press my forehead against the cool window of our apartment, watching the city lights blur through unshed tears. He had 5 years to apologize, Aunt Nancy. 5 years to acknowledge he was wrong. I know, sweetheart, but maybe this is your chance, not just for revenge, but to change things, really change them. An idea begins to form in my mind. The engineering department is still all men, isn't it? You know your father. Women are too emotional for technical work. She mimics his gruff voice. What if, I turn to Ben, who's listening intently, what if I could save the company and force him to create opportunities for women in STEM? Ben's eyes light up. Make him put his money where his mouth is? Exactly. A scholarship program for women in engineering, mandatory diversity hiring quotas, real lasting change. He'll never agree, Nancy warns. He will if he's desperate enough. I pick up the letter again, determination replacing the hurt. Tell him I'm coming home, but he better be ready for my terms. Lexi, Ben starts, concern in his voice. I know what I'm doing, I assure him, though my hands shake as I reach for my phone to book a flight. He wanted a dutiful daughter who'd sacrifice herself for the family business. Well, he's about to get exactly what he wished for, just not in the way he expected. Want me to come with you? Ben offers. I shake my head. I need to do this alone, but keep your phone on. I might need your expertise when I start digging into their technical problems. As I pack my bag that night, I find my old family photo. We look happy, Dad, Val, and me. Mom had just died, but we were still holding it together. before status and tradition became more important than his daughter's happiness. I'm not coming home to forgive you, Dad. I whisper to his smiling image. I'm coming home to show you exactly what your engineering nonsense can do. And this time, you'll have to watch as your daughter dismantles your precious patriarchy, piece by piece. I zip up my suitcase, my heart racing with equal parts anticipation and dread. Tomorrow, I return to face my past. But this time, I'm not the scared 23-year-old he threw out. This time, I'm the one with the power to save or destroy everything he holds dear. And God help him if he tries to stop me. The Parker mansion looms before me, exactly as imposing as I remember. My Uber driver whistles as he helps with my luggage. Nice place. I force a smile and tip him generously. The front door opens before I reach it, and there's Val, practically bouncing with nervous energy. Lexi! She throws herself into my arms, and for a moment, I'm transported back in time. She still smells like strawberry shampoo. I can't believe you're really here. Look at you, I say, holding her at arm's length, all grown up. She's dressed in a crisp business suit, so different from the teenager I left behind. Ms. Parker. Thompson, our old butler, appears behind Val. His eyes are warm despite his formal tone. Welcome home. Home. The word feels foreign now. Where is he? In his study, Val answers, her excitement dimming. He's been there all morning. Of course he has. The same room where he disowned me. How fitting. Let's not keep him waiting then. I straighten my blazer and follow Thompson through the familiar hallways. Family photos line the walls, but I notice all traces of me have been removed. Classy dad. Val grabs my hand. He's different now. The company troubles have aged him. Good, I mutter, then immediately regret it when I see her face fall. Thompson knocks on the study door. Sir, Miss Lexi is here. Enter. My father's voice sends an involuntary shiver down my spine. I squeeze Val's hand once, then let go. This is my battle. He's standing behind his desk, and Val's right. He looks older. Gray hair has replaced the black, and deep lines crease his face, but his eyes are the same. Cold, calculating. Lexi, he nods stiffly. Father. I remain by the door, arms crossed. Quite a letter you sent. He clears his throat. Yes, well, desperate times. Clearly. I walk to his desk, placing my palms flat on its surface. Let's skip the small talk. Show me the numbers. He bristles at my tone, but slides a folder across the desk. I flip through it, my stomach dropping. It's worse than Aunt Nancy suggested. The Sustainable Energy Project? I ask. Bleeding money, technical issues we can't solve, and Zane Ross is circling like a vulture, I know. I close the folder. I can fix this. Hope flickers in his eyes. You will help? For a price. His jaw tightens. Name it. I pull out a document from my briefcase. My terms, non-negotiable. He reads, his face growing redder with each line. This is outrageous. 50% of new engineering hires must be women, a multi-million-dollar scholarship fund for women in STEM, mandatory diversity training, and I want full control of the Sustainable Energy Division. I add calmly. No interference. He slams the paper down. You're using our crisis to push your feminist agenda. No, Father. I'm using your crisis to drag this company into the 21st century. Sign it or I walk. You wouldn't. Try me. I meet his glare. I'm not that scared little girl anymore. I'm the best in my field and you know it. That's why you called me. Val steps forward. Dad, please, we need her. He whirls on her. Stay out of this, Valeria. No, her voice is firm. I won't. Lexi's right. This company needs to change. I'm tired of being the only woman in board meetings, of being patted on the head and called sweetheart by men twice my age. I stare at my sister with newfound respect. She's grown a backbone while I was gone. My father sinks into his chair, suddenly looking every bit his age. You've thought this through, haven't you? 5 years of thinking, I reply. Sign it and I start tomorrow. Don't, and I'm on the next flight out. Your choice. The silence stretches. Finally, he picks up his pen. You're as stubborn as your mother was. Thank you, I say, watching him sign. It's the first compliment he's given me in years. He slides the contract back. The guest room is ready for you. No need. I'm staying at a hotel. I gather my things, tucking the signed contract safely away. I'll be here at 8 tomorrow morning. Have the engineering team ready. At the door, I pause. Oh, and Father? Next time you see Zane Ross, tell him his vulture days are numbered. Val follows me out. That was amazing. But are you sure you don't want to stay here? I hug her tight. Baby steps, Val. Besides, I pull back with a grin. I have a feeling Dad's about to learn just how emotional women engineers can be. As my taxi pulls away, I text Ben. Phase 1 complete. Time to show them what we can do. His reply comes instantly. Give 'em hell, babe. Oh, I plan to. This is just the beginning. 8 a.m., and I'm already drowning in technical specifications. The engineering team, all men of course, stare at me like I'm an alien species as I pace the conference room. So, let me get this straight. I tap the whiteboard where I've mapped out their current system. You're losing 40% efficiency in the energy conversion process, and nobody thought to check the thermal regulation systems? Steve, the head engineer, shifts uncomfortably. We've tried everything, except the obvious. I circle the problem areas in red. These cooling systems are completely inadequate for the heat output. Who approved these specs? Silence fills the room. Then a smooth voice from the doorway. I did. I turned to find Zane Ross leaning against the doorframe, expensive suit and practiced smile in place. Ah, the prodigal daughter returns. Mr. Ross, I keep my voice neutral. I wasn't aware you had engineering oversight. I've been consulting on this project. He strolls in like he owns the place. Your father values my input. Clearly, I point to the specs. Your input is costing us millions. His smile doesn't waver. Perhaps we should discuss this privately? Nothing to discuss. I'm scrapping these designs and starting fresh. That's not your decision to make. His voice hardens. Actually, it is. Full control of the Sustainable Energy Division, remember? Or did my father not mention our agreement? The engineering team watches our exchange like a tennis match. Zane's eye twitches, the first crack in his perfect facade. A word outside, please. He gestures to the door. No time. Val, could you pull up the quarterly financials? My sister, who's been quietly taking notes in the corner, jumps to action. The projector flickers to life, and I start connecting dots that have been nagging at me since reviewing the books. Interesting, I mutter, tracing the money flow. Very interesting. What is it? Val asks. These equipment purchases. I highlight several transactions. We're paying triple market rate, all through the same supplier. I turn to Zane. Your supplier, if I'm not mistaken? His smile vanishes. I should call your father. Please do. I'd love to explain how you've been bleeding the company dry with inflated contracts while sabotaging our technical progress. The door bursts open. My father storms in, face red. What's the meaning of this? Zane tells me you're causing problems. I cut him off. Dad, look at these numbers. Really look at them. He scans the screen, frowning. These can't be right. Oh, they're right. And that's just the beginning. I pull up more documents. Every decision Zane has made has pushed us closer to bankruptcy. Almost like he's working with someone who wants to buy the company cheap. Zane's cool demeanor cracks completely. These are baseless accusations, are they? Val speaks up, her voice shaking but determined. Because I found something interesting in the competitor analysis. She slides a folder across the table. Zane's been meeting with Apex Corp's CEO, the same company that's been trying to buy us out. My father sinks into a chair, the truth hitting him like a physical blow. Zane, we've been friends for 20 years. Friends? I laugh harshly. He's been playing you, Dad, using your pride and your outdated beliefs against you. Why do you think he pushed so hard against hiring women engineers? Because he knew we'd spot his shoddy work in seconds. The engineering team murmurs in agreement. Steve stands up. She's right, sir. We've been saying something was off with these designs, but Mr. Ross always overruled us. Zane backs toward the door. This is ridiculous. Brian, you can't possibly believe. Security. My father's voice is deadly quiet. Please escort Mr. Ross out and call our lawyers. As security leads a protesting Zane away, I turn back to the whiteboard. Right, now that's dealt with, let's fix this mess. Steve, get your team started on new thermal calculations. Val, I need complete audit of all contracts from the last 3 years. Lexi, my father says softly, I should have seen it. Yes, you should have. I keep my eyes on the whiteboard. Your prejudices made you vulnerable, but we can fix this. I face the engineering team. Starting with some new perspectives, I'm bringing in 3 women engineers tomorrow. Any objections? They shake their heads quickly. Steve actually looks relieved. Thank God, we've been understaffed for months. Good. I check my phone. A text from Ben with some thermal regulation suggestions. Let's get to work. We've got a company to save. As everyone files out, Val touches my arm. That was brilliant. No, I smile at her. We were brilliant. Nice work with that competitor analysis. She beams. Think Dad's finally getting it? I watch our father staring at Zane's empty chair, looking lost. He's learning. Sometimes the hardest lessons come from trusting the wrong people and doubting the right ones. Speaking of trust, Val whispers, I found something else in the old files. Something about Mom's shares in the company. You need to see this. My heart skips. Show me after lunch. Right now, we have a thermal regulation system to redesign. And maybe, just maybe, a father to re-educate. The boardroom feels like a pressure cooker. I stand at the head of the table, surrounded by aging men in expensive suits, all wearing identical expressions of skepticism. Val sits to my right, tablet ready. The 3 new women engineers I hired, Sarah, Maria, and Jasmine, flank my left, their credentials speaking louder than any defense I could offer. This is unprecedented. Board member Richard adjusts his tie nervously. A complete overhaul of the energy system in just 2 weeks? What's unprecedented is how long you let this company operate with faulty technology, I counter, pulling up our new designs. Sarah, walk them through the improvements. Sarah stands, confident despite the hostile stares. Our redesigned thermal regulation system has already shown a 60% efficiency increase in initial tests. We've cut operational costs by... The boardroom door slams open. Zane strides in, flanked by 2 lawyers. I'm afraid this meeting needs to be postponed, he announces, dropping a thick folder on the table. I'm here to address some concerning irregularities. My father rises. You're not welcome here. Actually, I am. Zane's smile is predatory. As a major shareholder, I have every right to attend board meetings, and I've found some interesting details about your daughter's contract. Val grabs my arm. Lexi, I shake her off, keeping my voice steady. Please, enlighten us. Your engineering license. He slides a document forward. It was temporarily suspended last year due to a conflict of interest investigation. The board members murmur. I clench my fists. An investigation that cleared me completely. After 3 months, 3 months during which you were technically unlicensed, making your current contract with Parker Industries invalid. That's absurd, Sarah interjects. A temporary suspension that's been lifted means she was unqualified when she signed, Zane interrupts. Everything she's done here is unauthorized, including hiring you. The room erupts in chaos. Board members arguing, lawyers shuffling papers, my father looking stricken. But all I can focus on is Zane's smug face. Enough! Val's voice cuts through the noise. She stands, trembling but determined. Before anyone makes any decisions, you need to see this. She projects a document onto the screen. Mom's will, the real one. My father goes pale. Valeria, don't. Mom left her shares to us. Val continues. 30% of the company, split between Lexi and me. Shares that somehow ended up in Zane's control instead. The room falls silent. I stare at my father, realization dawning. You gave Mom's shares to him? It was temporary, he whispers, just until the girls were older. Older? I laugh bitterly. I'm running a Fortune 500 engineering division, and Val's getting her MBA. How much older do we need to be? Zane's composure slips. Brian, this is a family matter. You're right, it is. I turn to the board. And as rightful shareholders, we demand an immediate audit of all share transfers since our mother's death. You can't, Zane starts. Actually, we can. Val pulls up another document. I filed the paperwork this morning. The SEC is already investigating. Zane lunges for her tablet, but Sarah and Maria step between them. Security appears at the door, summoned by Jasmine's discreet text. Mr. Ross, the head of security says firmly, please come with us. As they lead him out, he turns back. This isn't over, Lexi. You have no idea what you're dealing with. No, I correct him. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Dad, a word? The board files out, leaving me alone with my father and Val. He looks ancient, slumped in his chair. Why? I demand. Why give her shares to him? The company was struggling after your mother died. Zane offered to help, promised to return the shares. He rubs his face. I was grieving, desperate. So you stole from your daughters? I thought I was protecting you? He slams his hand on the table. Both of you, this business, it destroys families. Look what it did to your mother. Val gasps. What do you mean, what it did to Mom? But before he can answer, my phone buzzes. It's Ben. Emergency at the test site. System malfunction. Get here now. This conversation isn't over, I warn my father, gathering my things. Val, come with me. Sarah, Maria, Jasmine. Meet us at the lab. As we rush out, Val grabs my arm. Lexi, what did he mean about Mom? I don't know. I hit the elevator button repeatedly. But I'm starting to think her car accident wasn't as accidental as we were told. The elevator doors open, and we step in, both lost in thought. Just before they close, I catch a glimpse of my father through the boardroom windows. He's holding Mom's photo from his desk, shoulders shaking. For the first time since coming back, I wonder if my revenge might cost more than I bargained for. But the test site alarm blares again on my phone, and I push the thought away. One crisis at a time. Smoke billows from the test site as Val and I screech to a halt in my rental car. Sarah and Maria are already there, frantically working at the control panel. The prototype sustainable energy reactor, our last hope for saving the company, is making sounds no reactor should make. What happened? I demand, rushing over. Temperature spike, Sarah explains, fingers flying over the keyboard. The new cooling system failed completely. That's impossible. I checked the readings. We triple-checked everything. Someone sabotaged it, Jasmine calls from inside the control room. Look at this. On her screen, lines of foreign code scroll past. A virus, she explains, triggered to activate during the final test sequence. Val peers at the screen. Can you stop it? Not fast enough. I run calculations in my head. We need to shut it down manually, now. The manual override is inside the testing chamber, Maria warns. With these temperatures, I'm already grabbing protective gear. Keep trying to hack it if I'm not out in 5 minutes. I'm coming with you. Val starts forward, but I push her back. No, I need you to call Ben. He helped design the failsafe. Get him on video chat. The testing chamber doors feel like an oven when I push through them. Sweat instantly soaks my protective suit. The reactor core pulses an angry red, warning lights flashing everywhere. Ben's online. Val's voice crackles through my headset. Lexi, listen carefully. Ben's familiar voice steadies me. The override panel is on the north wall. You'll need to input the sequence exactly as I say it. I fight through the heat, reaching the panel. Ready. Delta 79. Static cuts through the transmission. Ben, signal's being jammed, Jasmine shouts. Someone's blocking all communications. The reactor groans ominously. Without the override sequence, this whole place will melt down. Think, Lexi, think. Then I spot something. A familiar pattern in the warning lights. The same pattern Mom used to teach us piano. Hot tears sting my eyes as her voice echoes in my memory. Remember, girls, every problem has a pattern. Find the pattern. Find the solution. Val! I scream into my headset. Mom's song, the one she taught us. What were the notes? What? Lexi, what are you? The piano song. Quick! D793A4. My fingers fly over the keypad, translating musical notes to numbers. The reactor shudders, then begins to power down. Emergency cooling systems kick in, flooding the chamber with blessed cold air. I stagger out to find Val waiting with an oxygen mask. How did you know? Mom? I gasp between breaths. She always said music and mathematics were the same language. Sarah runs up with her tablet. We traced the virus. It came from inside the company network. Someone with high-level access. Zane? Val suggests. Too obvious. I shake my head. He's been sloppy lately. This was elegant. Lexi, Jasmine calls from the control room. You need to see this. On her monitor is an old email chain from our mother to the board, dated 1 week before her death. I'm formally requesting an investigation into suspicious contracts, I read aloud. I believe someone is embezzling funds through our overseas operations. Val grabs my arm. The accident. It was right after this. There's more. Jasmine scrolls down. These contracts. They match the pattern we found in Zane's dealings, but they start years before he joined the company. My phone buzzes. Aunt Nancy. Turn on the news, she says without greeting. I grab Val's tablet, pulling up a live feed. Breaking news. Corporate scandal rocks industry. Whistleblower reveals decades of fraud. That's Marcus Thompson. Val points at the man being interviewed. Dad's old partner, the one who wanted you to marry his son. My blood runs cold as Marcus speaks. I can no longer keep silent about what happened to Julia Parker. Her death was no accident. Holy shit, Sarah whispers. My father bursts in, looking frantic. Lexi, Val, thank God you're safe. When I heard about the reactor, did you know? I cut him off, showing him Mom's emails. Did you know what they did to her? He sinks into a chair, looking broken. I suspected after she died, but Marcus threatened. He said you girls would be next. So you tried to marry me off to his son? My voice rises. To protect me? To get proof, he shouts. His son knew everything. If you had married him, you used me as bait? No, he deflates. I made so many mistakes. Trying to protect you both, I only made things worse. Val steps between us. The reactor sabotage. It wasn't Zane, was it? Marcus, our father confirms. He must have realized we were close to exposing him. The Sustainable Energy Project. It would have revealed the money trail. My phone buzzes again. Ben. FBI just arrived at Marcus's office. They're saying something about international fraud charges. I look at the reactor, still cooling down, then at my father's haunted face, and finally at Val's determined expression. Well, I say, straightening up, looks like we're not just saving a company anymore. We're getting justice for Mom, Val finishes. Our father stands. Tell me what you need. Everything, I answer. Every file, every memory, every detail about Mom's last days. It's time for the whole truth. And this time, no one's gonna stop us from finding it. Rain pounds against the study windows as I sort through Mom's old files. Val sits cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by papers, while our father paces, recounting that fatal week. Julia was acting strange, he says, working late, taking private calls. Then she left this. He hands me a sealed envelope, yellowed with age. Instructions to open it only if something happened to her. My hands shake as I break the seal. A USB drive falls out, along with a handwritten note. My darling girls, I read aloud. If you're reading this, I couldn't protect our company from the corruption I discovered, but maybe you can finish what I started. Val wipes her eyes. All this time, a knock interrupts us. Aunt Nancy bursts in, soaking wet. Marcus is dead. What? We all speak at once. Apparent suicide. Left a confession. She pulls out her phone, reading. Julia Parker discovered our scheme. We couldn't let her expose us. The brake lines were the cleanest solution. The room spins. Dad catches me before I fall. There's more, Nancy continues. He named names, board members, international partners, shell companies. It's bigger than we imagined. The FBI's here, Thompson announces from the doorway. They're asking for Ms. Lexi. Two agents enter, introducing themselves. The female agent, Rodriguez, speaks first. We need to talk about your mother's investigation. I just found out about it myself. I gesture to the scattered papers. Not that investigation. The male agent Miller corrects. The one you've been running for the past 3 weeks. Val gasps. I keep my face neutral. Explain. Someone's been accessing sealed federal records, Rodriguez says, using algorithms remarkably similar to ones your mother developed, following money trails she flagged 20 years ago. I glance at Jasmine's laptop, still running code in the corner. I don't know what you're talking about. Really? Miller raises an eyebrow. Because the SEC just received an anonymous tip detailing exactly how Marcus Thompson's organization has been laundering money through sustainable energy projects worldwide, using your mother's original findings as a framework. Dad steps forward. My daughter was just trying to save our company and exposed an international fraud ring in the process. Rodriguez finishes. We're not here to arrest anyone, Ms. Parker. We need your help. Thunder crashes outside as I consider their words. What kind of help? Marcus's death complicates things. Miller explains. We need to move fast before his associates destroy evidence. Your mother's research, combined with your technical expertise, could crack their whole network. I finish, but I want something in return. Name it. Full immunity for everyone at Parker Industries who helped me, including my sister and father. The agents exchange looks. Done. And one more thing. I pull up the reactor data. Someone tried to kill me today. I want them. We know who it was, Rodriguez says quietly. That's why we're here. Marcus wasn't working alone. A familiar voice speaks from the doorway. No, he wasn't. We all turn. My blood freezes. Standing there, holding a gun, is Sarah. "I'm sorry, Lexi," she says, her hand steady. "But I can't let you finish what your mother started." "You?" Val breathes. "But you helped us." "I helped myself," Sarah snaps. 20 years building this network, hiding the money. Your mother almost ruined everything. And now her daughters, playing detective. "Drop the weapon." Both agents draw their guns. Sarah laughs. "You don't get it. I'm not alone." As if on cue, the power cuts out. Emergency lights cast eerie shadows. "The reactor sabotage," I realize. "You made it look like Marcus?" "While destroying evidence of the real financial network," she confirms. "Clever girl, just like your mother, and just as dead if you don't." A deafening crash interrupts her as Ben bursts through the side door, tackling Sarah. The gun skids across the floor. Val dives for it while the agents move in. "Perfect timing." I help Ben up once Sarah's cuffed. "Jasmine called me," he explains. "Said something felt off about Sarah's code. I was already on my way when the FBI called." Rodriguez secures Sarah while Miller checks the rest of the house. "We'll need statements from everyone." "First," I turn to Sarah. "Tell me something. The night Mom died? Were you there?" She meets my eyes, defiant. "I made the call. Marcus did the rest." Dad lunges forward, but I stop him. "No, she's not worth it. We'll destroy them properly, with evidence, with justice. Just like your mother would have wanted," Aunt Nancy says softly. As the agents lead Sarah away, I clutch Mom's USB drive. "We need to finish this. Tonight. Ben, call Maria and Jasmine. Val, get your laptop. Dad." He straightens. "Whatever you need. I need you to tell me everything about Mom's last investigation. Every detail you were too afraid to share before." Lightning illuminates the study as we gather around Mom's old desk. Her picture watches over us as we prepare to finish what she started. This time, the truth won't stay buried. Dawn breaks as we piece together the final connections. Empty coffee cups litter Mom's desk, surrounded by laptops displaying complex financial webs. Maria and Jasmine work furiously, tracking digital breadcrumbs while Ben cross-references data. "Got another one," Val exclaims. "Shell company in Singapore, connected to Sarah's network." "Add it to the map," I direct, watching as our digital visualization grows more complex. 20 years of fraud, corruption, and murder, all laid bare. Agent Rodriguez returns with fresh coffee. "We've got teams standing by worldwide. Once you give the signal, we move simultaneously." "Almost there," Ben mutters, fingers flying over his keyboard. "Just need to wait." He sits up straight. "Lexi, look at this." On his screen, a familiar name appears in Mom's old files. My heart stops. "Dad?" I turn to where he's dozing in an armchair. "Why is your signature on these offshore accounts?" He jerks awake, face pale. "What?" "These transfers," I point to the screen. "They're authorized under your name, dating back to before Mom died." The room goes silent. Val stands slowly. "Dad?" He rubs his face, looking ancient. "I didn't know, not at first. Marcus approached me about international investments, said we needed to diversify. The paperwork was complicated. You signed without reading," I finish flatly. By the time Julia discovered what they were using my signature for, it was too late. They had me compromised. "So you let them kill her?" Val's voice breaks. "No." He stands, desperate. "I tried to stop it. I called her that night, warned her not to drive the mountain road, but she said she had proof, was taking it to the authorities." Agent Miller appears in the doorway. "Mr. Parker, we need to have a conversation." "Wait," I interrupt. "Dad, what proof? We haven't found anything concrete from that night." He slumps. "Her laptop? She always backed everything up on it, but after the crash? It was never found," Jasmine finishes. already typing. Unless the insurance report, Maria says suddenly. It lists everything recovered from the crash, including a damaged laptop. Evidence log shows it went to the company's IT department, Ben reads, under Sarah's supervision. I grab my phone, calling Rodriguez. The old IT storage room, now. 20 minutes later, we're breaking into dusty filing cabinets while agents stand guard outside. Val sneezes as we shift through ancient hardware. Here, Ben pulls out a battered laptop. Serial number matches. Jasmine takes it reverently. The hard drive might still be intact. How long? I ask. Give me an hour. It takes 30 minutes. We huddle around her screen as Mom's last files load. Documents, photos, videos. Play that one. Val points to a video file dated the day she died. Mom's face fills the screen, looking exactly as I remember. If you're watching this, I didn't make it, but I've uploaded everything to secure servers. The evidence is hidden in the one place they'd never look, the company's sustainable energy patents. The patents? I whisper. Each patent application contains encoded data, Ben realizes, pulling them up, hidden in plain sight all these years. She knew they'd try to destroy her files, Val says, so she hid the proof in documents they couldn't touch without exposing themselves. Mom continues, Lexi, Val, I'm so sorry I won't see you grow up, but I know you'll finish this. Brian, my love, forgive yourself. Your signature may have opened the door, but your heart was always in the right place. Tears stream down Dad's face as agents lead him away. He goes quietly, pausing only to whisper, Make it right. Rodriguez returns, energized. We've got everything. Teams are moving in worldwide. Sarah's entire network is about to fall. Wait, I say. One more thing. I walk to the boardroom where emergency meetings are underway. Executives freeze as I enter. Ladies and gentlemen, I announce, in light of recent events, I'm calling for an immediate vote. All in favor of establishing the Julia Parker Foundation for Corporate Ethics and Women in STEM? Hands shoot up across the room. Nobody dares object. The foundation will be funded by seized assets from the corrupt network my mother died exposing, I continue. And its first act will be establishing oversight committees for all sustainable energy projects worldwide. I'll draft the paperwork, Val says, standing beside me. And I'll head the technical committee, Ben adds. As the sun rises fully, I stand at Mom's old office window. Her voice from the video echoes. Remember, girls, the truth always finds its way to light. We did it, Mom, I whisper. We brought them all down. My phone buzzes. Agent Rodriguez. Final arrest count 43 worldwide, including 3 board members and 6 international executives. I show the message to Val. She hugs me tight. Think Dad will be okay? He made mistakes, I say, but he helped us fix them. That counts for something. So what now? I smile, thinking of Mom's legacy and the changes we've set in motion. Now, we build something better, together. The autumn breeze carries the scent of coffee and fresh paint through the open windows of the newly renovated Parker Industries headquarters. I straighten Mom's portrait, now hanging prominently in the main lobby, as students file in for the Julia Parker Foundation's first scholarship ceremony. Nervous? Ben squeezes my hand. Terrified, I admit, watching young women in business attire fill the auditorium seats. What if you say, what if this doesn't work one more time? I'm telling Val, he threatens playfully. Speaking of Val, she strides onto the stage, commanding attention in her CEO suit. My little sister, all grown up and running the company while I handle the foundation. Who would have thought? Welcome to the first annual Julia Parker Scholarship Awards, she begins. Today, we celebrate not just academic excellence, but the courage to challenge corrupt systems and break down barriers. I slip backstage, where Maria and Jasmine are helping our guest of honor prepare. Dad straightens his tie, prison pale but standing tall. Ready? I ask. He nods. They approved my work release for this. Don't want to waste it. You earned it, I remind him. Your testimony helped convict 38 people. Small payment on a large debt. He touches Mom's wedding ring, which I now wear on a chain. Julia would be proud of you girls. Val's voice rings out. Please welcome our keynote speaker, Brian Parker. The audience's reaction is mixed. Some applause, some whispers. Everyone knows his story. Dad takes the podium, hands shaking slightly. 20 years ago, I made choices that cost me everything I held dear. He begins. My wife, my daughter's trust, my integrity. I chose pride over principle, silence over truth. But my daughters, his voice cracks. They chose justice. In the front row, Agent Rodriguez nods approvingly. Thanks to her advocacy, Dad's sentence was reduced in exchange for his cooperation and agreement to serve on the Foundation's ethics board after release. Today, Dad continues, we award scholarships to 20 young women entering STEM fields. Each recipient will also intern at Parker Industries, where they'll work on sustainable energy projects that prioritize ethics over profits. I step forward with the certificates as Val reads names. Each young face glows with determination, reminding me of Mom's video. The next generation will do better if we give them the chance. The ceremony concludes, but our day isn't over. In the renovated engineering wing, Maria unveils the prototype that consumed our last 3 months, a portable solar generator that costs a tenth of existing models. Mass production starts next week, she announces to the gathered press, and thanks to the Foundation's oversight, we can guarantee every unit is produced ethically, with fair labor and sustainable materials. Plus, Jasmine adds, the patents are structured to prevent the kind of financial manipulation that plagued the old system. Your mother's coding trick inspired that, she tells me quietly. Later, in Mom's old office, now the Foundation's headquarters, Val and I share tea from her favorite cup. Did you see the latest audit? Val asks. Record profits, 0 ethical violations. I confirm. Turns out doing the right thing is good business. Speaking of business, she slides over a tablet. Remember those diversity hiring quotas you demanded when you first came back? I scan the numbers, then laugh. 60% women in engineering? We exceeded the quota. Turns out, when you remove the corrupt gatekeepers, talent flows naturally. A knock interrupts us. Ben enters with Thompson, our faithful butler turned office manager. Sorry to interrupt, but there's someone here you need to meet. A young woman enters, clutching a familiar-looking notebook. I'm Amy. I found this at a garage sale. I think it belonged to your mother. My hands tremble as I open it. Mom's handwriting fills the pages, her personal journal from the year before she died. There's something else, Amy says. I'm a forensic accountant. Reading her notes, she predicted exactly how digital currency could be used for fraud. 20 years ago, I'd like to help the Foundation implement her preventive measures. Val and I exchange looks. Mom's legacy still growing, still fighting corruption in ways we never imagined. Welcome aboard, I tell Amy. That evening, I visit Mom's grave with fresh flowers. The Foundation's scholarship certificate rests against her headstone, along with a photo of Dad speaking at the ceremony. We're not done yet, Mom, I whisper, but we're getting there. Your fight is our fight now, and we're winning. My phone buzzes, Ben reminding me about dinner. As I stand, a familiar warmth fills me, like Mom's hugs used to. The autumn breeze carries maple leaves across the cemetery, and I swear I hear her laugh in the wind. Some people say revenge is best served cold, but Mom taught us something better. Justice is best served by lifting others up, by turning wounds into wisdom, by making sure the next generation stands taller on our shoulders. And that's exactly what we're going to do.